Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for August of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening this month for you. Well, Sagittarius, Juno is starting the month in the sign of Cancer and has been occupying your intimate relating zone here for a little while now, about a month already as this month starts. And wherever Juno goes, you want to bring the spirit of collaboration and connectedness and a sense of partnership. You really want to be on a team with any partners that you have in life. And Juno is very social, and the eighth house is really a very private place because it covers some very private aspects of life, such as intimacy, both sexual and emotional, and finances, especially shared finances. So because Juno governs committed relationship, while she's in the eighth house is a really good time to look into the deeper arenas of your committed relationship. Like if you have a business partner, it's time to sit down with the books together and look at how the money is flowing around the business. How does it come in? Where does it go once it arrives? How does it leave? Where is it saved? How is it spent? And how do you share responsibility for those finances with your partner? And this can equally apply to a marriage as well, because a marriage is a system and it has a financial component. And so this is a really good time while Juno's in the eighth house to look into those things and be more aware of them. Then in the middle of the month, Juno is going to move on into the ninth house, where her mood is going to change. Now, I said that Juno is about committed relationship, which she is, and this is a house of growth and adventure. So while Juno's in your ninth house is a really good time for some kind of growth process to do with your partnership. Maybe finally doing that couples therapy that you've been talking about, maybe doing some kind of workshop together or undertaking some form of coaching for your relationship, or just having some adventures together. It could be a really wonderful transit for traveling together, planning some trips or spontaneously going on a trip and having adventures and feeling that wonderful sense of expansion. And if you happen to be single, when Juno comes into the ninth house, and I'm sure that Julia is going to mention this when she talks about Venus in the ninth house, because both of the ladies are there this month. If you are single, this could be a time when you travel and you meet a partner, somebody that you find really attractive and would kind of like to put your life together with. And that sounds awkward and perhaps inconvenient, but it could also be magical. And Juno's going to continue through this house until mid-October. Now, Uranus is traveling along through Taurus and has been in your sixth house for a couple of years already and will be in your sixth house for about another year or two. Uranus tends to bring big changes, and Uranus is something of a weirdo. Kind of likes to disrupt the old and initialize the new, but most particularly in a cerebral way. He likes to cause you to think about things from an entirely fresh perspective to maybe detect some ideas that you couldn't have had before. Uranus is the innovator, and he's in your sixth house, passing through the arena of work, health, service, and personal organization. Now, if you have had a weird illness crop up in the last couple of years, This Uranus could be why. And it may be that Uranus is demanding that you pay more attention to your body and your health. And you may be having to deal with something that modern medicine maybe doesn't even know what to do with. And so you can even have an experience of being like a health outlier or harbinger, somebody who's got some kind of disease or condition that's so new and different that they don't even quite know what to do with it. You might consider checking out a more holistic practitioner or engaging in something a little bit off the beaten path, such as chiropractic or acupuncture, or even homeopathy or naturopathy, to see if you can discover more about the situation. That would be a pretty great health experiment. Now, you may be asking yourself, why am I talking about Uranus now if he's been in this house for several years already? Well, that's because every year Uranus goes retrograde, and this year he's doing that on August 28th. And there you'll see the little red RX symbol that means Uranus is retrograde. And on the day that Uranus turns retrograde every year, that can be a time of really pivotal insights where you feel yourself making a shift from attempting to move forward with the situation to engaging in some research and some retrospection about the situation. And so this can be a day when insights come and a shift happens. And Uranus is going to continue retrograde for the rest of the year. And so there's plenty of time to experiment and innovate in the area of your health. And this might equally apply to your work environment as well, where you might want to make some changes around how you organize things, how you run your calendar, your do lists, and other kind of systems that make your work life run. Ceres is in Libra all month and has been in and out of your 11th house quite a bit since much earlier in the year. February and May. And Ceres wants you to be more practical in whatever house she's in. Ceres brings themes around the physical world, food and how you eat it and how you digest it, and your body image and how comfortable you are in your skin, and money and finances too. And you've probably heard me say in your horoscopes this year, as long as Ceres is in the 11th house, that you might want to seek contact with a group to help support you on some of these things if you feel like you're wanting to find your way to a new balance around these things, a new balance of your diet and your eating, or a new balance of your finances. And Ceres in the 11th house is definitely a good time to seek the help of a group and the contextualization that a group can bring. Ceres is going to be here until mid-September, when she's finally going to do something new. Hey, Julia, what's up with Venus, Mercury, and Mars for the Sages?
Hey there, Sag. Big news with Venus because she starts the month retrograde. This only happens about once every 2 years, so it's pretty significant, and it's a time of relationship review for us all. So this is all happening in your 9th house, as Jamie mentioned. This is a house of travel. This is a house of school and education. And wherever we have Venus is where we do have pleasure. So you could be very drawn to kind of traveling with your partner maybe this summer, or maybe expanding yourselves in some way together, like having a shared adventure or learning something new together. But since Venus is retrograde, you could also be reviewing these things about your partner. Like, do you guys expand? Is your partner willing to grow with you? Grow with you intellectually, grow with you by having new experiences and new adventures? Or are you the one who likes adventures and they kind of want to sit around at home? If that does come up, maybe this is a tension that does need to be addressed in your relationship. And if you're single, then maybe you're reviewing your next relationship in these terms as well. Now, by August 13th, Venus conjoins the sun while retrograde, we call that relationship clarity day. So this is going to be an interesting time to keep track of because you could be having some insights and revelations into these matters, which I just mentioned to you. And if you are traveling, you also might run into some exes on your journey, or if you're going back to school, because Venus retrograde is notorious for bringing exes back into our life. Now, Mercury, the planet that rules your mind, also goes retrograde this month, but on August 23rd. He starts the month direct, but slowing down. And this is all happening in your 10th house. So this is a house of your career. It's a house of your public reputation. It also rules your boss or any authority figures in your life. With Mercury in this house and then going retrograde, your mind could be very much on career this month, how to get ahead in the world, or even on your public reputation as well. Now, when Mercury does go retrograde on the 23rd, this might be a time of career review for you. Maybe you're rethinking your career. Maybe you want to apply to a different job. You might also run into miscommunications with authority figures, including your boss during this time. And there could also be some challenges with your reputation. Maybe there's some misinformation going on out there about you, and you have to kind of go back and set the record straight with people. Finally, Mars, the planet of action and activity, the archetype of the warrior, starts the month in your 10th house. So a lot of 10th house activity for you this month, Sagittarius. And Mars in the 10th can be very driven, because it is the planet of drive, to work hard, to get ahead in career, to chase after those ambitions and goals. However, Mars in the 10th house can be a crunchy time for getting along with authority figures, especially if you might run into some miscommunications with them as Mercury is slowing down. So, you might just you might come off as kind of being a rebel at work, wanting to do your own thing, being a bit of a maverick. So, be prepared to have to go back over communications, especially if any misunderstandings did come up that draw your boss's ire. And with Mars in the 10th, it can be a little bit of a frustrating time in terms of your public reputation, especially with Mercury retrograde here. Maybe there's a rumor going on about you that you're like, no, wait, totally untrue. I need to go correct these people. Then by August 27th, Mars enters your 11th house. This is the house of friends, groups, and long-term goals. And when Mars goes into this house, you're going to be very driven by your hopes, wishes, and dreams, whatever they might be. Maybe that means buying a car or a house or starting a business, the dreams that take a little bit of time in life. This can also be a time where you're a little frustrated and impatient with achieving those goals and wanting them to go a lot faster than maybe they are. You could also be running into flare-ups in your friendship circles too. Maybe people are being very, very competitive with you, either in the groups you're a part of, like conferences, professional associations, recovery programs, unions, those types of things, or even among your friends as well. This can be a great transit for doing a team effort, getting together with a group of people, whether it's in your professional and personal life, and getting a lot of work done together.
So true.
Hi, Jamie here. Horoscopes and moon videos are fun, but they're also really general. Did you know we run live workshops monthly and that you can get questions answered about your own chart there? This month's topic is how to get passion and commitment in one blissful package. In this workshop, you'll discover your two different types, for love and for marriage, and how to resolve them in a single, passionate, and committed relationship. If you haven't found lifelong love yet, you might want to consider attending this. This workshop is expressly for our Tier 2 Patreon subscribers. It's easy to sign up at the Patreon link in the description below. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get back to the video.
Well, I want to tell you about this month's 3 moons, beginning with the one that's happening right away on August 1st, and that's a full moon in Aquarius. Lands right here in your 3rd house. A full moon is a time when emotions can run high, and this might really impact you in your communication. You might feel like your communication is pretty saturated with emotion under a moon like this. And this one might have some clashes with it too. We're calling it Big Egos Disrupt Group Nourishment. The nourishment theme is really a moon theme in the first place, because the moon is the universal mother. This particular moon happens to form a lovely trine to Ceres, adding on themes of nourishment because Ceres is the Earth Mother. So these two are pretty aligned. But then across the way, we have a rather egotistical sun at home in Leo. And then even more so, we have this Jupiter squaring the moon as well. So there may be some conversations, dare I say, arguments that could get emotional, could get heated between yourself and in your attempt to be rational and pushing back against, somebody who may be just strutting their stuff and being just way bigger than they have to be in that moment. So watch out for that kind of thing on August 1st. And then mid-month, the second moon is a new moon in Leo right here in that 9th house. And you'll notice that the 9th house is pretty full and busy at this point in the month. The sun and the moon have gathered here where Venus and Juno already had arrived. And so this is a big area of attention for you this month. And this is the domain of growth and expansion, of travel, philosophy, even higher education, expanding the mind and being the seeker. So that is a very big theme at the beginning of the month for that reason. And this new moon wants to plant some seeds in that area, wants to plant the seeds of a big idea that can lead to a philosophical change for you that maybe enables you to make better sense of your world and your life and to find a better meaning in it that can enable you to bounce back when things are not going your way. So this particular moon we're calling mending rifts, not making them. The reason that rifts are mentioned at all is because there's a square to Uranus. And I talked about Uranus as, potentially bringing up some health concerns or some desires for changes in the systems at work. And it can show up as, a sort of an irascible curmudgeon in the workplace. That might be you, or it might be somebody else under this moon. But there's also so much harmony involved with this moon, much more harmony than stress, that does suggest that you should be able to end by smoothing over any rifts that occur and ending this moon in a pretty sweet way, actually. So then the third moon of the month, happening on the 30th, is a full moon in Pisces, which lands right here in your 4th house. Now, this is the second full moon inside of a calendar month. And do you know there's a special name for that? We call it a blue moon. It doesn't have any astrological significance. It's not like something to interpret. It's just a fun thing to know about. This particular moon is very complicated, though, because it has a yod. And a yod, also known as a finger of God, is a situation where you've got a planet at the apex of 2 quincunxes. And if all of that was gobbledygook to you, don't worry about it. My main point is that under this moon, it would be very easy to feel like you are under extreme scrutiny, like you are being judged, like you are being examined under a microscope, and especially in your home life or among family members. Now, the moon is in Pisces, and it is in your 4th house, which is usually quite lovely, and I think this is no exception. And it can feel wonderfully cozy while the moon is in your 4th house and it's full like this. However, this moon, we're calling it pressure to establish boundaries because the way that Mars and Juno are bearing down on that moon is likely to make you feel more than usually emotionally porous and sensitive to the emotional weather in the room, and as if you really need to close your boundaries because they've kind of been, shotgunned open. Let's just say that they've got a lot of holes in them, and that you may be not feeling enough boundaries in your home life or among members of your family. And this may be a moon in which you feel like you need to, pull that cloak of silence around yourself in order to get through it. This month's moons are super interesting. They're all very different, and we've made videos about them, which can be found on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the forecast page. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is the seasonal change. Of course, as I said before, there's a lot of energy and attention in the first part of the month on the arena of travel, growth and expansion, exploration and adventure, and being a seeker. And that energy shifts around August 23rd when the sun moves on into Virgo. And here we see that your 10th house is really the full and active arena right now. And that will go on into next month. And the 10th house being, of course, the house of career and authority, as Julia described. Wherever the sun goes, we want to bring our highest quality attention so that we can help things to thrive and flourish there, because they will grow and expand if we pay positive attention to them. So the sun can bring some great inspiration into your career zone this month. And for the 30 days while the sun is here, starting August 23rd, you could do nothing better than to shine so much loving, warm, friendly sunlight in your workplace onto your career, your public image, and the people that you know in your workplace, and to really make them feel seen and acknowledged, and like they are shiny and special. And this is just a really great month for that form of leadership for you.
Well, that's all for today. If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
You can find out so much more about how this month's transits affect you in very personal timing in our monthly Patreon workshops. Find the link in the description below to get started. Enjoy your summer, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.